Okay, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. The subscribers have really moved. I do a bunch of these whenever I'm having a good day. I got health problems. Whenever a good day, I like to do a bunch of these at once. So the day I'm doing this is my third video, and I really want to say that the subscribers that I've gotten on YouTube has really and Twitch has really been great. I appreciate it a lot. Want to thank everybody, and as soon as we get to 25, and we're getting a lot closer than I thought I would. When we get to 25, I will make another one of these splash screens. I will thank everybody before I will set a goal, another goal that we can try and make. If you got the topic that we're going to talk about is I actually got some feedback on one of the videos I did, and I'm gonna and again the guy was not threatening. I think he was a moron, but the guy was not threatening, so I consider it like a valid. It's a waste of my time, but it's a valid thing. It's not a threat. It's not violent, and so I'm kind of treating it like that. Now, if I get better comments, I will be more than happy. But this is all I got right now, so but I will try to pick one or two comments a week and actually do a video on it. And this is the second one I'm doing, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now this is the same guy, and again, if I get better replies, I will be more than happy to use better people. And I occasionally might take people like these and just sort of point out what's wrong with them, because if we can, and again, maybe if he comes back in, he sees it. Maybe it gets the. I've had friends. There was a good friend of mine. I've known him for years. I basically put a comment on there. It was something about how in certain states, white people are no longer considered the majority. California, I think, falls in this. Texas, I think, falls in this. But there are states that are starting to turn where you no longer have white people as the majority. They are technically a minority in those states. And he flipped out, and he was gonna just fucking go and find the facts and roast me, and there were other things I pointed out, but he figured that was going to be the easiest one to disprove. And this is the thing I would say on this, and I had this with people I work with, I've had this with friends, I've had it with strangers. You get these people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They run their fucking mouth, and I occasionally fall into it. I do my best, but hey, I'm human. I make mistakes. We all do. But these people that there were some guys I watched them for months, and I told them, I go, Jesus Christ, I go, but statistically, you should have gotten an answer right by now, and they're just wrong all the time. Like these guys are sitting there. Oh, well, I think Ebola is airborne. Okay, well, you can think that, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but you can think that a penis is a vagina, but you can't expect decent people to take dating advice from you if you actually feel that way. But he went and looked it up and found out I was right. And then what he does is instead of putting it out there publicly, like all the stupid shit he said, he sends me a direct message, sends me a private message. And he's like, oh, yeah, man, I'll take your word on the rest of it, but I looked that up and, hey, I'm really sorry. And, I was really pissed off. And the only thing I would say is in a case like that, for anybody out there watching this, if you ever run into that moment where you are so sure of something and you find out you're wrong, well, then maybe you could pull your head out of your ass and you go look at all the other stuff you're really, really sure of and see how much of that you're wrong on. Because like this guy here, if we could ever get him to that point and he actually went and did some research, real research, not Fox News research or right-wing research or conspiracy theory research, I think these people would find out that they're wrong on just about everything. They are. And but let me ask you this: who is the party of slavery? And then and question mark. Nope, the Dems. And just to unpack this, what he's getting at is, and I hear this a lot from people on the right wing. The Democratic Party is the one that was for slavery back in the day, before any of us were born, before TVs existed, before the internet. And they get this somewhere. And there's I got a video, you can go and look. It's on the types of arguments or the types of discussions or whatever. And I talked about this in that. What he's saying is true, but it's misleading. Like what he is, and again, I think this guy, and I don't really want to bash him because I kind of ramble on in here. I don't write very well. I'm not a professional writer, but this guy comes off like he's got the intellect of a third grader. It's bad. Um, but the Republican Party, they were the ones that freed the slaves. Again, we're talking like cars didn't exist back then. I mean, it was before World War One, I believe. And, I mean, it was bad. And so, they throw this out there like it still means something. But what they don't know is, and I replied to this in the response, I told him, I go, well, yeah, Democrats were the party of slavery. And then, like, you go back to World War II, Harry Truman is someone that was in the KKK. A lot of people don't realize this. He was a member of the KKK growing up in Missouri. And when he saw black soldiers being lynched in uniform after they had fought for their country, he told his people, like, look, I grew up in the KKK. This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. These men fought for their country. They're heroes. Some of them died for this country over in World War II. But see, those same people probably didn't think, fighting Hitler was a good thing either. That's how bad those people were. And then what happened is that it started a little bit under Truman and kind of moved forward. Well, sooner or later, the Democrats moved away from slavery. And what they did was they were basically pushing things, and the slavery people in the Democratic Party did not have enough votes to get stuff done in the party. They could distract from things, they could stop some things. They were kind of like the Joe Manchins and Kristen Sinema of their era. And what they ended up doing is they ended up leaving the party. And Joe Manchin's already agreed to do that. He's already told him, hey, if you want, I'll leave the party. Again, so it's kind of, again, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Well, they left and they created what was, I think it had a different name, but it was referred to affectionately as the Dixiecrats. And these Dixiecrats ran a national campaign. They didn't run in every state, I don't think, but they ran in a lot of your southern states. They got a lot of local offices, so they would get governor's positions, they would get like state legislature, and they could get stuff done in the state. They could not win enough seats to take over in the Senate and the House. They couldn't get the presidency. Strom Thurmond, who was a longtime Republican, he ran for the president in that party. And then there was, I can't think of the guy's name. God, he was an old Republican. He's retired now. At one of Strom Thurmond's birthday parties, he said, well, yeah, if we'd elect you president all them years ago, we wouldn't have all these problems. Yeah, he ran on the segregation ticket. He wanted to keep blacks and whites separate. And a member of the Republican Party was like, well, yeah, if we'd have elected you president, we wouldn't have all these problems. Yeah, like a black president, interracial marriage, racially mixed schools, the busing issue that Kamala Harris has talked about. Yeah, these are things that, we wouldn't have if we would have. Well, they couldn't get anything done. And even the stuff they passed in the state, it would get overturned at the federal level because it violated the Constitution. It violated federal law. So then what they did was they joined the Republican Party. For the most part, there was, something, I can't remember if he was a senator or a House member. He's not from my state, but his last name was Byrd. He was one of them, but he gave that up. He came over to the good side. And it kind of goes with what I was talking about when, talking about Biden's speech, calling this out. There were Republicans, that, like, hey, Harry Truman, this is a guy that was a KKK member. You can't get much more hate-filled than that. But when he saw what was happening to black servicemen that were coming back from World War II, he's like, that's wrong. I don't care what I was taught when I was going, So there are Democrats, but there's a lot of them that, just have not learned it. They're still in the Republican Party. And I don't know. I don't know. And who is the party of corruption? Nope, the Dems. Which party is trampling all over our rights? You didn't guess it. It's the Dems. Now, what he's talking about in that is you've got, I'm guessing, because he's not, again, he's not being real coherent or competent. Um, you've got people that are being held accountable for hate speech. He's probably upset that those two guys in, I think it was Georgia or Alabama, they ran over a guy. They saw a black guy who was jogging, and they decided to run him down and kill him. Well, they went to jail. He probably thinks that's wrong, would be my guess. And, you've got Alex Jones was sued for fucking stupid shit, and it caused harm, and he was sued, and he's got to pay like 50, and it might come down if he appeals it, but he's going to have to pay some money for the shit, for the lies he told over Sandy Hook. And you've got people that are being removed from Twitter because they're lying about COVID and other stuff, and they're being taken off. And that's not really even a government thing. That's just Twitter doesn't want the hassle, so they're getting rid of that stuff. And there's a reason they are not 8 and 14. I have no idea what he's talking about. And then he talks about the First and Second Amendments. And again, he doesn't understand that these amendments are not unlimited. You can't yell fire in a crowded movie house. Second Amendment, you cannot take a gun into a courtroom. In some states, you cannot take a gun to a school. Now, we have a problem with the courts, and I will probably cover this eventually in another video, but we have a problem in the courts because back in, I think, 2008 or 2012, we had a Supreme Court that couldn't read. And so they ruled that the Second Amendment was an absolute right, or an individual right to own a gun, when it had always been considered a right for states to create a militia. And when you look at militias in the context of the founding fathers, I think, and if there's any, again, comments are down below, but I think when you're looking at that the militia would be the standing army, would be the National Guard, because we didn't have those at the time. We didn't have a National Guard. We didn't have standing armies. Most states did not have like the FBI. We didn't have like the FBI. We didn't have like state police. You had cops, but not like we do now. And so, you could argue that the Second Amendment, but again, it's not, even now, it's not an absolute. And now that we've got these unqualified judges in there, they're striking down gun laws that have been on the books for 100 years. They're striking down abortion rights that have been on the books for 50 years. And so I don't know but again, this guy is just not smart. And speech and to protect yourself, mostly from a tyrannical government. Well, and this is the thing, when you look at the tyrannical government, that would be a president who is basically organizing a terrorist attack to overthrow an election he lost. Again, so I really hope that this guy gets some help. I do. If I get more, but now if I get hate speech, if I get people issuing threats and all that, I'll put their fucking name in these videos and they can go around it. I don't care. But this guy, and so again, if you do go to my channel, if you make sure you are respectful to this guy, because I don't see anything wrong with this. I'm not going to keep responding to stupid shit from the same people all the time. But, he was polite about it. He was insane. He was absolutely, but he was polite about it. He was, he wasn't rude. He didn't make any threats. And so, I just, at least on my channel, I would expect this guy to be treated with at least the same respect I'm giving him. But I seriously hope that this guy gets some help. But I don't know. This guy's probably a lost cause. I don't know. Okay, you got any questions and comments? Go ahead and leave them down below. And I really, really want to thank everybody that has made the subscription numbers go up. I've even started to get some likes on these videos, and I appreciate it. Just if you want to help out, you can hit that subscribe button. It's free. Hit those likes, share it with your friends, and I hope everybody has a great day today.